Anyway, I'm with Kim Tzin. Is that how I pronounce it?
KimTzin.
KimTzin, sorry. Okay. Kim Tzin.
Yeah.
Law firm, a new law firm.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself. How do you go into the law? How do you go into the law?
Okay.
And
18 years old. From 6, didn't know what I want to do in my life.
Okay.
Interested in philosophy at that time, trying to figure out meaning in life. But I can't do philosophy I can't make money from it. Then try to figure out what to do my life. Then I find out that, there is this topic in law called jurisprudence, and it's the philosophy of law. There's this interesting topic in law, and then lawyers seem to make money. Lawyers seem to be rich. I know very shallow, but it's exactly like that. And so I chose the private route.
Right.
But the goal was always this.
You say philosophy. What philosophy you enjoy?
It wasn't really just enjoy, it was a desperate need to have an answer to what is the meaning of life?
Okay.
How do I know what I know is true? What is true? What is not true? So then, of course, philosophy was the starting point at which I tried to answer the questions. Okay, so is there some credit to law is that it does encourage you to think.
My name is Kim. That's my middle name. Growing up in a difficult household was mostly like, you don't know what to do. But I guess the passion was really to be an investigative journalist. I was looking for scholarships. SPM results weren't good, so I needed to sell my sob story to someone to give me a scholarship. Shout out to Star Newspaper though. They really gave me a scholarship to do A-levels, and then that's where I took it from there. It's like, okay, I'm going to do law. Yeah, I guess I'm more of a linguistic person, so I like language.
It's easier to rank a .com, .net or .org. Today it's more about how easy is it to type into the URL. So what made you decide to go with XYZ?
Sorry. I mean, if people are looking for a deep answer or a technical answer to this, there's no real deep technical answer to this.
But most law firms are serious, isn't it?
That is the biggest problem with them. So when you take yourself too seriously and you feel like, what you do is of such high value and so great, you forget empathy. You can get into your client's worldview of what truly matters, right? So lawyers have this thing about thinking the law is all important and that the law is the highest thing out there. We all must follow it. We must be so scared of it. We must basically worship it, right? And then they burden themselves with the law and tell their clients such horror stories.
Assume that I'm like 5 years old, I do not know a lot of things, right? How would you explain to me what do you guys do?
The law cannot keep up with businesses. Type of businesses these days are so advanced. Everybody is finding new ways to do things, and the law just can't keep up. So there'll be times where you read the law, there's many ways of interpretation, right? Am I breaching the law? Am I not? Right? So nobody has an answer to it because it's a new business model and the existing law just cannot cope. So I think that's where we come in with a little bit more creative mind.
How do you build your position, right?
Yeah, how you position
this. And very often it's not just the law, you have to think about engaging regulators. They're not always business unfriendly, right? We cannot think of them as the enemy as well. You have to think about how to negotiate with them. Uber is the good example of the law cannot keep up with innovation.
Because the business model is just new, not seen before.
So if you took in those days when Uber came here, right? If you took the very, very conservative legal approach, then it's strictly speaking illegal under the Land Transport Act.
Yeah.
The very conservative old school lawyers will take the view.
But do you think most businesses are like that? They go ahead and do things first, then only figure out how to sweep up and
absolutely right.
What would be your most ideal client?
Someone who's willing to take risks. They're willing to take the risk into ownership. Where we come in is we help them understand their risk here, right? And not only understand the risks, but also think about solutions, creative solutions to getting what they need to do by reducing risk or by increasing the upside.
I mean, if you go through our website, we will now use words like "let us work for you." It's always it's a collaborative effort, right? So we're looking for collaborators, genuine collaborators. Now back to your question, I think there's no clear-cut answer. Like he said, depending on the characteristic of the person, right? People who take ownership. Like I said, if the organization is so huge and there's 1,000 people working there, then who's going to take any accountability? Because they don't have to anyway. I don't believe that, right? It's like, okay, if you're running your own media company, you're running our own law firm, every risk we take is very intimate, it's very personal, right? So whatever we do has a higher cost.
How do law firms like you guys charge?
If you had money, and for law firms, time is money.
Okay.
Right, so that's your capital. The best way to invest is you put a part of your money or your time in the high risk ventures.
Okay.
Right? It's like you invest in a startup. Then for the other half of your money, or in the law firm's case, time, you think about the more safer bets. It gives you cash flow and income.
Okay.
You price yourself according to this model. So let's say if you're working with someone, do a major sale or major fundraise, or they're gonna try to get an exit in the company, then we can price ourselves where a lot of what we earn will depend on whether there will be an exit or a success. We can take a little bit more risk with them. In other words, we kind of like step into the same boat as them, right? As the clients. So if they fail, we will not take as much in terms of fees. So that's one part of the portfolio, because our time is money, so this is how we allocate our time. The high risk work tend to be deal work, means you need to make a deal happen, either a fundraise, the exit from founders exiting the company, or acquisition, big deals.
So when the deal is made, you take a portion of it, like a value-based
higher
pricing.
fee, right? A higher fee there, but it's also something that it's you don't know when it will happen, right?
Yeah.
Cash flow wise, this will happen over a period of time. The projects last for 18 months.
Yeah.
The other aspect we should consider also is that because you talk about really micro SMEs, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the saying like more money, more problem. So if the business is small, they don't really have a lot of big problems.
True.
And what most law firms tend to do is that they tend to overkill the service, right? And providing
Just
you more than
get a bit more buck.
Yes.
No, but I don't think that's great. I think it's more of just like they cannot comprehend what people truly need.
So they just prescribe everything.
Yeah, it's like a one-stop approach. Like you swallow Panadol, you swallow everything, and then it's like we figure out what's so long as it suppresses the symptom, right?
Okay.
I think for us, we are a bit more surgical in this. We go in there, we sit them and talk with them.
Right.
We definitely won't charge them. Just ask them like, how are you doing? What are you doing? Where's your pain point? Show me where it hurts.
Right.
Then we just address that. So then we are very efficient about what we do, and they're also very cost efficient for them also, because they're not going to pay you 100,000 to do something, right?
The best doctors that you see will tell you that I don't think you need a surgery. Right?
Yeah.
Because criticism of, let's say, surgeons, like, if you go to see a surgeon, they will always prescribe you surgery. But a very good ethical surgeon, who is first a doctor, then a surgeon, will say, you really need a surgery in this case. Perhaps there are alternative methods to help you get better. Significantly cheaper, less profitable for the surgeon.
Yeah.
But that's the model. So how do we price? Like that. Like a good ethical
Which is rare.
surgeon would.
Yeah.
Which is rare. Okay, what's the advantage of a small firm, like a indie firm like you guys, compared to a huge firm like?
I think we definitely have a lot of room to
Okay.
be creative in our decision making. Example is that some clients, they may not have the best intention for the public as to the way they run their business if our values don't align. Because we are friends before.
Yeah. For
For the
example, this.
firm,
Right.
And we have a lot of shared values in common. And this guy reads a lot of philosophy, so we spend a lot of time talking about it. So we have a shared value, and we don't have to say anything. We just look at each other and say, maybe we're not the lawyers for you. We don't have to go through the whole bureaucracy of like, we gotta do it for money, things like
That's
that.
advantages for us.
Yeah, that's really advantages for us.
Right.
So if you want to know what's advantages for, I guess, the client point of view is this. The reason why you want to have a big firm, sometimes it makes sense, is because it's a single point of contact that deals with everything
that you need.
And what surprises when we first started this is like back in early July, is that there were already a lot of people who are already coming on their own.
People of our age.
Yeah,
Okay,
who are
okay.
working exactly this model. They are either sharing office spaces in what in Malaysia is called a group legal practice, where they have like 5 or 6 different firms sharing the same infrastructure
space. Okay.
and same
Oh,
space.
okay.
Now it's possible already. Or they're like us, pure mobile. And so with these people, it's a lot more flexible. And because they take ownership of their work, unlike, let's say, a junior associate or senior associate or non-equity partner in another firm, they have a lot of reason and motivation to make sure this is done well, this looks good on them, and that this is done quick because they get money. Their cash flow is not a salary. Their cash flow is... Do we disclose
Their livelihood.
Yes,
Right?
the livelihood, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a very different dynamic.
How do you acquire clients?
Firstly, there are limits already that the Bar Council imposes on lawyers and how they can market themselves. So that's one. And the other thing is, and we don't really want to go down that route anyway. Even let's say the law was liberalized.
We don't want to be TikTok lawyers.
Yeah, we don't want to go out there and hire us.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, but if you're on TikTok to educate, that's
Yeah.
fine.
that's very different. Yeah.
But on TikTok to solicit. So you go to America and you see those MVA lawyers, motor vehicle accident lawyers,
Yeah.
right? Those tortious lawyers. The way they advertise, you would think that they are
They have to take something from you. Like, you always get that sense, right? So this is a marketing thing.
Okay.
Something we learned from TikTok. All the social media education people, a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
They'll say, okay, this is what they'll say. If you want to gain traction on your social media platform site, you don't sell your service. You give free education.
Yeah.
And you shut up after that.
before you do anything, please engage,
Consult a lawyer.
feel free to call us. And it's like,
That's the potong steam moment.
yeah,
Exactly. That's exactly potong steam, right? So if you look at all the great influencers out there in terms of what they're selling their product, it's pure free education. There is limitations on how lawyers are supposed to market,
Yeah.
but there's no limitations on educational marketing. So actually, we do have. Now think about it, right? We do have a lot of free room, right? Because the most efficient way to market is to give
Education,
free
stuff. Yeah.
Free stuff.
Yeah.
But money aside, I think the moral compass here is this, right? The internet, I would think that is a great equalizer,
Yeah.
right? Because for someone like me who comes from a very difficult background, I learned a lot from the internet. So what we're doing now is not just purely like a marketing gimmick or like trying to gain traction for the firm. It's like young people want to be educated, and it's not something that can be found in or needs to be found in a textbook, which is 300 pages in. Then only you find out your answer. Whether it's legal, financial education, physical education, anything, right?
legal service is something that requires so much trust. But it's a very risky thing. From the client's point of view, more often than not, you need a referral. Someone who says, yes, you can trust this person. True marketing for lawyers tends to be by word of mouth, which is so where there's all like social media, websites,
Comes in, right?
all this comes in is to give evidence of legitimacy. Even though I refer to you, I say, okay, go use this law firm. First thing you're gonna do is what you can Google.
Yeah.
And this is why we're talking to each other because our website don't come out on Google, right? Until recently.
Yeah.
So that's a very important point. So that's the first thing you do is you
Have
suss them
presence.
out.
Yeah.
Right? I can check them out. So I'll Google them, right?
Yeah.
When in the past when we did deals and then we had the opposite lawyers said with this, what's the first thing I do? I Google them. I check your LinkedIn profile.
This is basic
I
human
look at your
behavior,
Instagram.
right? Yeah.
I want to know who this person is.
So what's next for you guys? Are you guys like planning to build a lot of educational content on
Not
social
many,
media?
but we do have one in
What's the
mind.
plan?
We do have one in mind. We recently bought a small mic as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely down the road,
To be creating content and
to be creating content and to just provide perspective. But the thing is this also, right? While we are not trying to be influencers, we also cannot run away from the reality in this modern day and age.
how people actually interact and where they pay
So
attention
you need to
right?
have some form of social relevance, and social media is just one way, even on a personal level.
Yeah. What is something that most businesses do not know when it comes to the law?
Law is frankly not the most exciting thing about doing business. And anyone who advises you on law in a vacuum, that means they just talk about law and
Yeah,
law alone,
yeah.
without talking to you about finance, politics, commerce, industry, without understanding all these things.
There are a lot of law firms, or rather lawyers, who do not have empathy as to what you do. So there are two kinds of lawyers. Lawyers who are more empathetic, lawyers who are not. So sometimes you just need to find a right fit.
Okay.
What's right? What's the right fit for you? Who are the right personnel for you? With the right temperament, with the right amount of intelligence, talent, right?
Right.
Values. Right?
And values, correct. So we definitely do not fit in with a lot of people, right? But we do fit in with a certain bunch of people as well.
I can fit in with you guys.
Huh?
I can fit in with you guys.
Sure, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, Judson. Thank you.